You think you can fix this? The room went silent. Every executive in the glass boardroom turned toward the voice. Victoria Sterling's voice, cold, sharp, dripping with disbelief. Her diamond bracelet caught the light as she pointed toward the man standing at the doorway, a delivery bag still slung over his shoulder. He froze. His name was Marcus Green, 29, working part-time delivering food to Sterling Dynamics corporate offices, a job he never wanted but needed. Victoria's red heels clicked against the marble as she approached, her perfume expensive, her tone poisonous. God, you smell like grease and gasoline. Who even let you in here? Marcus looked down at his uniform, black delivery polo, jeans stained from his motorcycle chain. The receptionist had called him up to deliver the CEO's sushi order. He didn't expect to walk into a multi-million-dollar tech meeting. He also didn't expect to see their centerpiece, a brand-new luxury engine, on fire. Smoke curled from the prototype in the center of the table, an experimental AI-controlled hyper engine built to redefine electric performance cars. The room smelled like burnt metal and humiliation. Victoria crossed her arms. So, Mr. Delivery Boy, since you seem fascinated, what you think you could fix that? A few executives snickered. The German investors at the table whispered something and laughed under their breath. Marcus said nothing at first. He'd learned long ago that pride doesn't pay bills. He just stood there, quiet, eyes locked on the engine. But Victoria wasn't done. Tell you what, she said, her tone suddenly theatrical. If you fix this $2 million engine that my team of MIT-trained engineers can't figure out, I'll marry you. The room burst into laughter. Phones came out. Someone even started recording. Marcus just blinked. You serious? Oh, dead serious, she said, smirking. You've got oil under your fingernails and a delivery bag over your shoulder. Let's see what the street mechanic can do that Harvard couldn't. Marcus stepped closer to the table. Everyone watched, confused, entertained, waiting for a show. He set down his delivery bag, revealing the name patch on his jacket, Green's Mobile Repair. I wasn't always a delivery boy, he said quietly. Before the pandemic, I ran my own shop. Used to work on engines like this, only simpler. I know the sound of a dying motor. Victoria rolled her eyes. Spare me the sob story. But the lead engineer, a nervous man named Alan, hesitated. Wait, you've worked on AI-integrated drives. Marcus nodded once. Before your company started making them, actually, I helped build early prototypes for Tesla Dynamics. Before they let me go. That made Victoria pause. Slightly. You're saying you were fired? I'm saying I was replaced, Marcus replied evenly. When I took care of my mom's cancer treatments, they said I couldn't keep up with the hours. So now I deliver food for people who buy the cars I used to build. The room went silent. The laughter died down, replaced by something less comfortable. Guilt. But Victoria smirked again, hiding her unease behind arrogance. Well, Mr. Tragic Hero, if you're done monologuing, let's see your magic. You've got, she checked her diamond watch. 2 hours before my investors leave. Fix it, or get out. The head engineer protested. Ma'am, this is a precision device, not. She raised a manicured hand. Let him. If he fails, we'll have our entertainment. Marcus took a deep breath. He looked at the machine again, the sleek silver heart of Sterling Dynamics' billion-dollar dream. He could hear a faint buzz in the wiring, off. Rhythm, uneven, wrong. May I, he asked. Victoria gestured grandly. By all means, janitor. The humiliation didn't sting him anymore. He'd heard worse. Marcus walked to the table, hands steady, eyes scanning the setup, thermal lines, power, core, coolant sensors. You ran it recently? Alan nodded. Overheated in 14 minutes every time. Harmonic disruption. We think it's the AI feedback loop. Marcus crouched down, ear close to the hum of the engine. Everyone stared, half disbelieving, half curious. Then he smiled slightly. You're not listening to it. What? Victoria snapped. He stood up. Engines talk. Not in words, in rhythm, tone, vibration. It's like jazz. You've got all the right notes, but they're in the wrong key. The German investor leaned forward. Are you implying mechanical dissonance? Marcus nodded. Exactly. You've got European components calibrated in metric, but the American AI is running in imperial units. The feedback's distinct. It's fighting itself. Alan's eyes widened. That's impossible. We. Check your firmware, Marcus said calmly. Version 3.1.2. It defaults to inches. Alan's fingers flew across his tablet. After a few seconds, his face went pale. He's right. The room went dead quiet. Victoria's smirk faltered. Lucky guess. Marcus shook his head. Not luck. Listening. He grabbed a nearby diagnostic pad, bypassed the restricted interface, and began adjusting values manually. You've got a harmonics offset of 0.0032 millimeters between your torque converter and AI sensor calibration. That's your overheating point. How did you? I told you. Marcus interrupted. I used to build engines like this. Only difference? I listened. Before I coded. The German investor exchanged glances with his team. They whispered in German, one word clearly audible, brilliant. Victoria folded her arms, masking her discomfort. So what? Fixing code on paper doesn't fix the motor. You still have a dead engine. Marcus didn't respond. He pressed a few keys, adjusted the input frequency, then turned to Alan. Power it up. Alan hesitated. If it fails again, do it. The engineer nodded, and the boardroom filled with the software of a machine coming to life. For 10 seconds, everyone held their breath. The hum deepened, smoother, steadier, a mechanical heartbeat syncing perfectly. 10 minutes passed. No smoke. No overheating. No shutdown. The German investor stood up, astonished. It's stable. Alan checked the temperature readings, perfectly balanced. Operating at 92% efficiency. Cheers erupted. Executives clapped. Phones came out again, but this time to capture the impossible. A food delivery boy who'd done what their million-dollar engineers couldn't. Victoria stared, pale, trying to process what just happened. Her $3.8 million problem solved. By a man who made $9 an hour. Marcus looked at her calmly. You said you'd marry me. The room went silent again, this time with laughter that wasn't mocking, but amazed. Victoria flushed. You think this is funny? No, Marcus said quietly. I think it's ironic. The German investor approached him, extending a hand. Mr. Green, yes? I am Klaus Muller, head of Bavaria Autotech. We've been looking for consultants who understand real engineering, not just theory. Would you consider joining us in Munich? Victoria blinked. Wait, what? Klaus smiled politely. We came here expecting innovation, and we found it. Just not where we expected. He turned to Victoria, his tone shifting to cold professionalism. Miss Sterling, perhaps you should listen more to those who build, not those who brag. Victoria's jaw clenched. She wanted to scream, but every investor in the room now surrounded Marcus. He stood still, humble, grounded, a man who'd spent years unseen, now standing in the brightest light of his life. Victoria forced a laugh, trying to recover. It was just a game, a test. No, Marcus said simply. It was a moment. You showed everyone who you are, and I showed them what I am. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the silent consultant from the corner of the room, finally spoke. Mr. Green, do you know how rare it is for someone to see what a machine is feeling? Marcus smiled faintly. My grandfather taught me. Engines don't care who's holding the wrench, they just want someone who listens. Victoria looked away. For the first time, her confidence cracked. The engine purred quietly behind them, the sound of redemption, humility, and poetic justice all in one. Marcus picked up his delivery bag. Your sushi's getting cold, he said softly, and walked out of the boardroom. No one laughed this time. And as the automatic doors closed behind him, Victoria Sterling, the woman who mocked, a man for his smell of oil and sweat, stared at the screen displaying the company's live stream. 1.2 million people were watching. Comments flooded in. Hire that man. That's real genius. Respect the ones you overlook. Victoria's PR manager turned pale. Ma'am, it's gone viral. Marcus stepped into the rain outside, helmet in hand, feeling the cool drops on his face. He didn't smile, not yet. He just whispered under his breath. Told you, Grandpa. Always listen. To the engine. Inside, the investors shook hands with the man she'd mocked and the empire she built on. Arrogance began to crack. The next morning, the world woke up to a clip that nobody expected to see on the trending page. Delivery boy fixes $2 million engine in under an hour. CEO stunned. Every major news outlet picked it up. Business Insider, CNBC, Even a late-night host made a joke about the sushi delivery Einstein. For Marcus, it was just another workday. He didn't even have Twitter. But when he walked into his neighborhood coffee shop, people stared. "That's him," someone whispered. Another customer clapped him on the shoulder. "Man, you showed that lady up good." He smiled politely, embarrassed. "I just fixed what was broken." But outside the glass walls of that cafe, a storm was building. Inside Sterling Dynamics, Victoria Sterling was pacing in her corner office. The sunlight caught the glass awards on her shelf. Women in Tech, CEO of the Year, Top Innovator. But that morning, they looked like mirrors of hypocrisy. "Find out who leaked that video," she barked at her assistant. "Ma'am, it was the investor's live stream feed." "I don't care. I want every clip taken down." "It's everywhere now, ma'am. TikTok, Reddit, even business forums. The hashtag listen to the engine is trending." Victoria froze. Hashtag listen to the engine. His words. She clenched her jaw. He embarrassed me in front of the world. Alan, the lead engineer, stepped in cautiously. "With respect, ma'am, he saved our prototype. We should probably thank him." "Thank him," she snapped. "He's a delivery driver who got lucky. I built this company from scratch. I won't let some street mechanic become its face." Alan hesitated. "He's getting job offers already, from Bavaria Autotech and Tesla just called." Victoria turned sharply. "He's not going anywhere. Not until I talk to him first." That evening, Marcus was back at his tiny garage. 2 lifts, 1 light bulb, and a radio that only worked when it wanted to. His mother's picture hung above the workbench. "Still trying to make her proud," he murmured, wiping his hands. A black SUV pulled up outside. 2 suited men stepped out, followed by Victoria Sterling herself. She was dressed differently. Simple jeans, blazer, sunglasses, but the same chill carried in her voice. "Marcus Green." He turned, surprised. "Didn't think I'd see you outside your glass tower." She forced a smile. "I came to apologize. About yesterday. Things got out of hand." He looked skeptical. "You came all this way to apologize?" "Partly." She glanced at the old motorcycle behind him. "And partly to offer you something. Hey, job. Head engineer at Sterling Dynamics. Double whatever Bavaria Autotech promised." Marcus blinked. "That's generous." "What?" "Because you're good," she said smoothly. "And because together we could make history. I was wrong to underestimate you." For a moment, he almost believed her. Her tone softened, eyes shimmering just enough to seem sincere. But then he noticed the way her driver kept the engine running, the way her assistant kept glancing at a folder marked NDA, confidential. He shook his head slowly. "You don't want me. You want control." Victoria's expression hardened. "This is business, Marcus. You don't survive in this world by being sentimental." He smiled faintly. "Then I guess I'll keep fixing engines instead." She exhaled sharply, masking irritation. "Fine. But when the fame fades, and those investors move on, don't say I didn't offer you a chance." She turned and left, heels crunching on gravel. As the SUV pulled away, Marcus muttered, "I'm not chasing chances. I'm building mine." 2 weeks later, Marcus's small garage became a pilgrimage spot. Reporters, engineers, even college students came to see the man who heard machines. He didn't charge interviews. He just kept working. When a local single mother brought her broken car, he fixed it for free. "You need this more than I need the cash," he said. But inside Sterling Dynamics, Victoria's empire was cracking. The German investors withdrew half their funding, demanding Marcus's involvement for the next phase. Without him, the deal stalled. Her board began whispering that maybe Sterling Dynamics had lost its human touch. Victoria's pride refused to bend. "We'll do it without him," she told her board. "We'll launch our own improved version." Alan looked uneasy. "But his calibration file." "Recreate it," she snapped. "By any means necessary." A month later, a sleek announcement went public. Sterling Dynamics unveils Harmony. Engine 2.0 foot, revolutionary AI performance drive. But during the live demo, something went horribly wrong. The car ignited, right there on stage. Flames shot from the engine bay. Panic erupted. Videos went viral again. Captioned, "Sterling's Harmony turns into firemony." Stock dropped 38% overnight. Victoria stared at the headlines, hands trembling. "What happened?" Alan placed a printout on her desk. It was Marcus's calibration. We couldn't duplicate his method. The system rejected the patch. She sank into her chair, whispering, "It wasn't supposed to be like this." For the first time, she looked human. Tired, small, afraid. Meanwhile, Marcus received a message from an unknown number. "I need your help. Please. V." He didn't reply immediately. But that night, as he looked at his mother's photo again, he heard her voice in his memory. "Son, forgive, but don't forget. Sometimes you fix people like you fix engines, by listening first." The next morning, he showed up at Sterling Dynamics. The staff watched in disbelief as the man once mocked walked past the lobby. Victoria stood in the lab, sleepless eyes behind smudged mascara. "You came. I'm not here for you," he said. "I'm here for the engineers who actually believe in the work." She nodded slowly. "Fair." He walked to the burnt prototype. "You tried to replicate the formula without grounding. It needs empathy, not equations." She frowned. "Empathy doesn't calibrate machines." Marcus looked at her. "Doesn't it? Empathy means listening, same as engineering." He began adjusting the circuits, quietly instructing Alan and the team. Within an hour, the new Harmony engine hummed to life. Steady, perfect. Everyone cheered except Victoria, who stood silently, watching the man she'd mocked save her company twice. When the noise settled, she approached him. "Why help me?" "Because the machine didn't deserve to fail for your ego," he said gently. "And maybe people deserve second chances." She swallowed hard. "And what about us?" He met her eyes. "You once promised marriage over a joke. Let's start with respect." For the first time, Victoria smiled genuinely. "I can work with that." A month later, the Harmony 2.1 engine launched successfully, with Marcus credited as chief consultant. In interviews, Victoria publicly thanked him. "He reminded us that innovation isn't just about algorithms, it's about heart." Marcus's garage expanded into a mentorship program for underprivileged youth. The Green Garage Initiative, funded anonymously by Sterling Dynamics. And somewhere in a quiet cafe months later, the two met again. No cameras, no arrogance. Just coffee, conversation, and the sound of rain tapping softly against the glass. Victoria smiled shyly. "Still listening to engines?" "Always," he said. "But I've started listening to people more too." She laughed, a soft, human laugh this time. "Maybe I'll learn that someday." He leaned back, grinning. "Maybe someday you will." Outside, the world moved on. But inside that little cafe, a story that began with mockery ended with something quieter and stronger: understanding. Moral: never measure worth by uniform or title. True intelligence speaks softly, and sometimes it arrives carrying a delivery bag. It had been almost a year since that rainy afternoon in the cafe. Sterling Dynamics was now back on top of the automotive world, but this time, it wasn't because of luxury or PR spin. It was because of humility, teamwork, and a quiet genius who once carried takeout in his hands. The Harmony 2.1 engine had changed everything. A perfectly balanced hybrid of human intuition and artificial intelligence. Cars equipped with it could feel the road, adjusting performance with eerie precision. And behind that success, Marcus Green still preferred to work from his garage. His name was now in headlines, sure, but fame never changed his habits. He still woke up at dawn, still wiped the same tools, still kept his mother's photo above his workbench. What had changed was the traffic outside. Journalists, engineers, and even young kids came every week to learn from him. He never charged. He just said, "Respect the machine, and it'll teach you patience." One afternoon, a black limousine pulled up again. But this time, it wasn't Victoria Sterling stepping out. It was a man in his late 50s, sharp suit, salt and pepper beard, confidence. That came from real money. He extended his hand. "Mr. Green, my name is Tariq Al-Mansour. I represent Al Rashid Automotive Group, based in Dubai." Marcus shook it. "You came a long way. What brings you here?" "A proposition," Tariq said with a smile. "We are developing a new line of electric supercars. Luxury and performance combined. We need your mind, your design philosophy. We're ready to offer you a consulting deal worth $900 million. Marcus blinked. 900. Tariq nodded casually. "We can transfer the first 100 million immediately. The rest follows upon prototype completion." Before Marcus could respond, a familiar voice echoed from behind. Victoria Sterling had just walked into the garage, visibly startled. "Tarek?" she said coldly. "Victoria," Tarek replied, his tone shifting. "I see you've arrived just in time." She looked at Marcus. "Be careful. They've been trying to steal our tech for years." Tarek chuckled. "Steal? Hardly. Collaborate. Something you Americans sometimes forget the meaning of." Marcus raised a hand, calm but firm. "Both of you stop." He looked at Tarek. "You came to buy what can't be bought. The Harmony design isn't mine. Alone." He nodded toward Victoria. "It's ours. And the team's. Every mechanic, every coder, every intern who stayed up fixing what was broken." Tarek smiled thinly. "That's noble. But I'm not asking for your company. I'm asking for you. Your brand, your genius. You can build whatever you want, with no restrictions. Name your price." Marcus looked him in the eye. "Freedom has no price tag." For a moment, Tarek's smirk faltered. He gestured to one of his assistants. The man opened a sleek tablet showing projections, legal drafts, and stock valuations. "With your reputation and my funding," Tarek said, "we can dominate the electric market. You'll be bigger than Tesla. Why stay small, sentimental, and tied to a woman who once mocked you in front of the world?" The words cut deep, but Marcus didn't flinch. He simply looked at Victoria. She didn't say anything, just lowered her gaze, ashamed but silent. Then Marcus said, slowly, "Because sometimes the people who break you are also the ones who help you rebuild stronger." Tarek's smile faded entirely. "So that's your answer?" "My answer," Marcus said, wiping his hands on a rag, "is no." "You're turning down $900 million? Marcus nodded. "If you have to buy loyalty, you never earned it." Tarek's jaw tightened. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," Marcus said softly. "But I'll regret it more if I sell what my mother taught me. Integrity." Tarek's eyes darkened. "Then we are done." He turned, his entourage following, suits glinting under the afternoon sun. But before stepping into the limo, he paused. "For what it's worth," he said, "I respect your answer. But not your naivety." Marcus simply nodded. "Then we understand each other." The limo door shut, and the roar of its engine faded into the distance. Victoria exhaled slowly. "You just turned down almost $1 billion. He shrugged. "I've been broke before. It teaches you what money can't buy." She studied him, half admiring, half bewildered. "You know, I used to think success meant power. But you're showing me it might mean peace." Marcus smiled faintly. "Peace is power, just quieter." Months passed. Sterling Dynamics profits soared as the world's top car manufacturers licensed their technology. Victoria appointed Marcus as co-director, though he refused the title chief engineer. "I'm just Marcus," he told reporters. "Titles are noise. Engines are music." One evening, Victoria invited him to a private dinner, the same restaurant where she'd once mocked him for smelling like grease. Only this time, the staff greeted him first. As they sat across from each other, candles flickering, she smiled nervously. "You know, you could have taken that $900 million, retired, lived like a king." He chuckled. "And do what?" "By silence. I'd rather build sound." She looked at him, genuinely moved. "You really are something else, Marcus." He leaned back, smirking. "And you finally sound human, Victoria." They both laughed, softly, comfortably, the tension of their past replaced with mutual respect. Then she said, "You remember that joke I made? About marrying you if you fixed the engine?" He laughed. "How could I forget? You almost went viral for the wrong reason." She tilted her head. "Well, you did fix it. Twice." Marcus grinned. "You proposing or joking again?" She smiled playfully. "Maybe both." The waiter arrived, breaking the moment. But in that silence, something had shifted. Not romance, not yet, but a deep understanding. The kind that only forms when two people have seen the best and worst of each other. A year later, the Harmony Foundation launched, a joint venture by Marcus and Victoria, dedicated to teaching engineering to underprivileged youth. Their first branch opened in Detroit, Marcus's hometown. Over 500 kids enrolled in the first week. During the ceremony, Marcus stepped up to the microphone. Cameras flashed, but his voice stayed calm, grounded. "Most of us spend our lives being judged by the dirt on our hands," he said. "But sometimes, that dirt is where growth begins. I was a mechanic, a delivery boy. I didn't have money, or power, or the right suit. But I had two things, curiosity and kindness. And that's all any engine or person really needs to start. The crowd applauded. Victoria stood beside him, her eyes glistening with quiet pride. When the ceremony ended, she whispered, "You know, Marcus, I finally understand your saying." He looked at her curiously. "Which one?" She smiled. "That engine's talk. You just have to listen." He nodded. "And people, too." She extended her hand. "Partners." He shook it. "Partners." That night, Marcus went home, sat by his mother's old photograph, and whispered, "I did it, Ma. Not for the money. For the meaning." The radio crackled softly in the background, a slow jazz tune filling the room. He leaned back, closed his eyes, and listened. Outside, the city buzzed, cars powered by the very engine he once built in silence. Inside, one man smiled, not because he won, but because he never sold out. Moral: never underestimate the hands that build. True wealth is not counted in millions. It's measured in moments of integrity. What would you have done in Marcus's place? Taken the $900 million or chosen peace and pride? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget, subscribe to Residential Stories for more true, powerful, and life-changing stories like this one.